for the sake of that baby. I discovered it was just a wrapper. So I now asked her, where is your baby? She told me, my baby has been in the ICU for months now. But I don't know if that baby was going to make it. I started encouraging her. I started telling her what God can do. I started making her to understand that God can do all things. I started making her to understand that there is no impossibilities with this God. I started making her to understand that all things works for the good of them that love the Lord. That there was something that will come out of what has happened. She believed me. Her faith got lifted. Brethren, in the morning, when the doctors and the nurses were going on ward round, the doctor came and told her, Madam, the same thing we have been doing since. Every morning, not every morning, once in a while, they remove the oxygen from the child so that the child could breathe. Because the water in her dried up when she was, I think, 6 months or 7. And they had to remove the baby. And the baby had been in the oxygen for a very long time because there was no lungs. They said, we left your child for more than 30 minutes and that child was breathing. So, in a little while, we'll be discharging you. We were so happy. We praised God. We glorified God. But I didn't know that the devil was waiting for me. I had gone out because that day was the day I was being discharged. My husband was trying to clear the bills. I had gone out to ease myself. When I came back, I saw my daughter. The color of my daughter has changed. I saw foam coming out of my daughter's mouth. The girl was not breathing. Hey, remember, I just told someone that God can do all things. I just told someone that there is no impossibilities with my God. Now the devil wanted to embarrass himself. I didn't let her see. I picked my baby and I was telling God, when I left my house, I told you that I will go to this hospital and I will come back. My blood level was 13 point something, some days before I gave birth. Then the moment they were preparing me for me to give birth, they checked it was 7. They said I was not going to be able to give birth. Father, you have seen me through. Don't disgrace me. Don't do this to me. I did all this. I went. I saw a nurse. My husband was on the other side. The nurse was inside. Me, I passed my husband. I went to the nurse. I gave the baby to the nurse. I said, nurse, my daughter is dying. She's not breathing. Nothing is happening. I don't know what the problem is. The nurse took the baby from me. She shook her head. I said, no, don't do this to me. Oh. You must go home with me. Whatever it is, I refuse. I am not agreeing to the agreement of the devil. I'm not agreeing to the words of the enemy. I don't want to know what it is or where it's coming from. This arrow must go back to the sender. This arrow must live the life of my child. I was declaring. My husband was praying from the side where he was. The nurse, we hit my baby. We turned the baby upside down. Put the head down. She tried everything. All along the line, my baby poo-pooed. The nurse was like, which means all this while, she had given up hope herself. She said, Madam, you cannot go and change the baby. This is God. I went and I changed the baby. We cleared everything. We went home. Reaching home, I discovered that my child flaps so much. You know, children, they normally flap. Isn't the mothers? Children flap. But my own baby, this child kept flapping. She will not eat. If I want her to suckle, she will just, and she will slip off. And you see, I'm very big. So imagine how big my child too is. So she became bigger. It's not funny. She became bigger. Somebody came to visit me, say, Mama Grace, you've had 2 children. Why is this? I said, I don't know. I try to feed her. No way. I do everything. I express. I do what I felt I could do. Brethren, I noticed one hand was short, one leg was short. You know, mothers, when you're breastfeeding your children, you touch them, you know things happening around them. I told my husband. My husband told me, sweetheart, please, there's nothing wrong with that child. And because I didn't want us to argue, I know the next thing he will say, I don't have faith. But actually what I wanted to do is, let's seek, because God has given the medical practitioners knowledge to do something on his behalf. So I wanted we seek medical attention in case if there is anything. So what I did, I went back to God. I said, God, open the eyes of my husband to see what I'm seeing, because I don't want issues. I don't want him to feel that I don't have faith. I don't want him to feel otherwise, whichever way. One day, my husband called me and said, sweetheart, what you said is true. I noticed the leg of this girl is short and the hand. In fact, at a point, he asked me I should measure. I make clothes. So I used the tape measure. I measured. The leg one was longer, one was short. He still did not believe me until God opened his eyes. Now, we went to Mama Lucy. Reaching there, they did scan, did everything. We got to a particular doctor. In fact, he almost pushed us out. He said, there's nothing wrong with this child. I came out. We stood there. My husband said, let's go. I said, I'm coming. I just saw a doctor that was coming in. Many people nurses were greeting him, and he was so cheerful. I waited, he got in, I went to him. I said, I greeted him. He said, good morning, doc. He said, morning. Can I help you? I said, yeah. I explained to him. He told me. He looked at the baby. He said, this case is for occupational therapy. Me, I don't know what occupational therapy is. Now, he directed me to where it was. I went. Reaching there, I saw people on wheelchair. I saw people with their hands like this. These were autistic children, was what I saw. I said, God, this is not my agreement with you. How can I work with you and you do this to me? How would you want me to sit in the house and be taking care of a child instead of going out to tell people how good you are? The doctors attended to us. We went home, we came back. One doctor one day asked me, Madam, did your child ever had seizure? I said, yes. He said, that was when this thing happened to your child. He said, now that he's on the right side, it means it affected the left side. So now what you will do is just be massaging her. Thank God you came, even though they told me I had come late. I think from 6 months. He said, but at least something can be done. But not perfectly, because it had affected the brain. They asked me to massage with olive oil this. I went home. When I'm massaging, I say, Father, you can't do this to me. This leg, you must stretch out. You, my daughter, I kept telling her, you must be what God wants you to be. You must be a carrier of God's power. You must be that child that God has brought you to be. No man on earth will change your figures. No man on earth will be able to change what God has created in you. From your brain, everything about you must normalize. I kept saying this. I kept doing this, massaging this child. I didn't know God was hearing me. I didn't know God was doing something. My baby will be 4 years by March next year. My daughter parrots a lot. My daughter is so articulated. That is, even my neighbors will ask, hey, Amanda, Team Amanda, you talk too much. He said, yes, I'm talking for God. My daughter's legs are equal. My daughter's hands are equal. There is nothing like autism in the life of my daughter. There is nothing like autism in the life of my daughter. No, not even my other children. The boy, they brought ear problem to him. We kept going until one day he woke up and told me, Mommy, I saw Jesus came out from the sun and he touched my ears. He went back to the sun. He told me, you're healed. Church, I'm telling you, since that time, my child had not complained of ear infection. This is a child that we kept taking to the hospital from the time he was so small, when he was so tender. God can do all things. God can change situations. Women, you are a life giver. Don't let life die in your hands. Don't let what God has put in you die. Don't let your children die. Don't let your husband die. Don't let your church die. You are there for a purpose. God has placed you there for a purpose. God has made you to be that one in this church for a purpose. Maybe that is the assignment God has called you. Intercede for your church. Intercede for your husband. Intercede for your children. You are a life giver. Remember Mary and Elizabeth. When they met, the child kicked. Because a life giver is there. Because a life giver was present. Because the one that gives life, God made us to carry life and bring back life. And when we bring that life, God said we are God's. He has given us the power. He has given us the word. He has said we should go and do as he does. What is it that is disturbing you? What is it that you're carrying around? What is it that you're telling people? This is what is happening to me. I tell you today, once you encounter God in obedience, you will see all those mountains leave you. You will see all those mountains come down. Tell God, Father, I am available. He's just looking for a vessel. He's just looking for someone so that he can advertise his power. He's looking for you. He's looking for me. Let's give God this chance. Let's tell God, there is no one like you. You are the only God. You are Jehovah Jireh. You are Jehovah Elohim. You are the one that is sufficient for me. Why am I looking for another option? Why am I looking for another channel? Why am I looking for another job? When you have said that I should occupy until you come. When you have sent me to go and work for you. When you have sent me to be the bearer of that gospel, of the channel of the kingdom. Oh Lord, I am available. Women, men, tell God you are available. Don't delay. Don't let sin keep you down. Don't let sin pull you down. Don't say, oh, you're still in the indecision is disturbing you. Indecision will keep you. The devil will keep you. All the people that walked with God, the moment they got that encounter, they left the sin. Gideon left his father's house because he knew if he continued there, nothing will come out for good for him. That nothing good will come from that place. And the moment you obeyed God, God used him mightily. Do you want God to use you in your own home? I'm not even talking about the church. I'm talking about your own home. Why are things happening the way they are happening? Why are things there? Every year it is the same story. Every year you're still saying the same thing. You're not in good terms with your husband. You're not in good terms with God. You cannot do anything positive. The Lord is saying, all I need from you is your obedience. The Lord is saying, all I need from you is for you to open up unto me. Because the moment you open up yourself, I will use you. I will fill you with the Holy Ghost. The verses were filled to the brim. God will give you the Holy Ghost that will help you. God will give you the Holy Ghost that will direct you. God will give you the Holy Ghost that will help you to shift. The mountain is here. You say, I am pushing you away. The moment you give your life to Christ, the moment you take that decision, I tell you, you will smile.